Hey there guys, Reaper here, and I'm back with another painting video. And it's not a non-combatant this time, even though I've still got more to paint, but I had to do this one and the next one because I had a slight issue that I needed these for a campaign session. So obviously I quickly painted these up, but this is the Reaper Bones Sea Hag, which I think actually turned out really well. And it's a very simple model, which is nice. It's simplistic in the sense that you don't have to paint it as a sea hag. You could probably paint this as any type of hag you want. So I went more generic, but I still went with the blue skin because I like the idea of trying blue skin because I hadn't done it before. But it was primed in just a standard grey that I always use for all of my minis now. Every video from now on will be grey, as it's a nice standard base colour. The blacks turn out all good, the whites turn out well. It's just exactly how it should be. But we are just, before it ends, we are quickly covering the skin with Army Painter's Wolf Grey, as it's not quite blue, but it's enough that it looks blue, especially after the wash as well. And then I go back and there is it's sort of like seaweed mixed in with clothing in the actual model, so a lot of the concept art. But I figured it looks, you could put it off as looking like rags, like her clothing is just falling apart as it's so old. So I've done the entire thing in necrotic flesh from Army Painter because it's got that old, like dirty white look, like it was once a white dress and now it's just dirtied up and stayed like that. And I do paint here, it's actually an octopus, which I didn't notice when I first started painting it, but attached to her arm is just a little octopus, which I come back and fix a bit later on after I realised what it was. Now with this colour as well, it's turned out better than I've used it before. Like if you have the issues with cloak, that's a different colour, with necrotic flesh before, I highly recommend shaking it like crazy. But like, this is the first time I've had it come out and it's nice and smooth and it's coloured properly and it's exactly how you would expect it to be. And it actually gives really good coverage and really good colour, which it didn't have before. And that's it for necrotic flesh. Now we move on to the hair, which I've done in hemp rope. Because I wanted a different colour to what I've done before. And I figured it was this or it was going to be green. But green is very much, that is a sea hag and that's it. Pretty much. So I wanted something I can sort of shift between them. Because I didn't actually use this as a sea hag in the game. It's actually a red hag from Tome of Beasts, which is meant to have red skin, but it's a nice stand-in that it worked alright. And it still turned out exactly how I would hope it to be. It also didn't require a lot of highlighting either after the wash. Now we move on to, there's a few like boils and things around her skin, and of course the eyes. I've just done grey matter beige, as I didn't want to do white because white is very much, it stands out like crazy, whereas an off-white sort of blends a little bit more and it's a more subtle approach to highlighting certain things. And of course while it's out I do all the fingernails and toenails and things like that. Then we move on to where I noticed that there's actually an octopus on the arm, and I just whip out Army Painter's Alien Purple and quickly cover that. It's a little ball on top of her arm, and then the tentacles sort of wrap around as they go. It looked like a weird off shoulder originally, but I don't really know what I was thinking, because now when I look back at it, it's clearly an octopus. But even still, I've painted it up, I've corrected it now, and it turned out alright, the octopus actually. But it's nice how the tentacles sort of wrap around really tightly. But that's it for the octopus. And then we move on to the webbing between her toes, which is hydro turquoise. So I wanted something that would blend nicely with wolf grey after the wash goes on. I figured that's quite a nice one to work with. And we move on to the wash, which is Army Painter's green tone. Because I didn't want to use blue tone because I didn't want it to be blue. I wanted it to sort of go a more greeny, sort of slime look. Because then you could pull off a green hag as well as a sea hag, or even a night hag would probably work quite well. But either way, this model is designed for a sea hag and it works out right. Because it gives the dress as well that sort of like seaweedy, algae look. Then we move on to, well, no, I've still got more to do. Oh, this is where I was just trying to dab off some of the like pooled areas. I didn't want too much pooling because obviously it would look green. I didn't want it to look green. Now we move on to the highlight stage. And I don't highlight any of the flesh because there isn't really any sharp edges on the flesh, so it wouldn't work that well. But with clothing, there was a lot of sharp edges and edges that needed just bringing it back up to where it should be. So I'll just whip out aquatic flesh again and just highlight all those edges around. As you can see with the highlight, it's kind of important to take your time when doing this part, because if you do too much, it just removes all the work you've done with the wash. Well, all the little work you've done with the wash, because it doesn't take a lot of effort to put a wash on. But a wash gives a really nice finish to a non-main character. Like the next video, I don't believe I do any highlights. I just wash straight over and then leave it. But that's it for the entire model really. I just move on to now the standard black base, because I always use black bases as that's how it's the most sort of efficient thing to use. So I figured, why not? It's better than any other color anyway, that I found anyway. The only thing I would use over this is if I went out and bought clear bases for everything, which I'm not going to do because that's expensive and I have a lot of minis to do. So it wasn't worth it. But there we go, there's the final images of the Sea Hag. Hope you enjoyed, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. See ya.